So in this video, I'm talking about 9 different signs that your opponent is either feeling tired or you've managed to injure him, so that way you know to go in for the kill and win the fight quickly. And as well, I've got a little bonus for you right at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that one. So let's jump straight into it. So number 1, the first one, probably one of the most obvious ones, but I thought I might as well get out of the way with, but it's body language. If you ever see your opponent, obviously if he's bending over like that, or he's slouching, he doesn't seem the way he normally is, or he's dropping his hands a lot, he's trying to create distance, you can normally tell with someone's body language how tired they're feeling. And I know obviously you're going to be feeling tired as well, but if you really notice that their body language is really dropping, that's a sign you might really want to try and put the pressure on and go in there, because obviously you can win the fight. And let's be fair, if you can leave it out of the judge's hands, it's always going to be better. It's better for the fans, it's better for the promotion, it's better for everyone. And it looks better on your record as well when you get a finish. So obviously that's why I'm making this video, to know when to go in for the finish. So as well, with signs of body language, they might be small, subtle signs, but like I said, just look out for it. Looking out for slouching over, looking out for the hands dropping. If they start the fight and their hands are right up here, and you notice as the fight's going on, they're dropping their hands, you know that they're getting tired. So that's number 1. Number 2, this one's a little bit more specific, but if you're attacking your opponent's leg and you hit them a few times, I've actually had this in a fight myself where I've hit my opponent with a few good leg kicks and he played a good poker face and I didn't actually realise how much I'd hurt him. But halfway through the fight, without even me really cottoning on, he actually switched stance. And when I was talking to him after the fight, my opponent, he even admitted to me that them leg kicks I caught him with really hurt him, and that's why he switched stance, not to get attacked with the leg kicks. But at the time, when he was switching stance and I was fighting, I thought he was just doing it to throw different angles and things like that, because he was moving still well on his leg. He was moving still, he was bouncing up and down, he was having good footwork. So I thought he purely done it, like I said, just to change into the southpaw to show me different angles. But it weren't. It was because I'd actually attacked and had damaged that leg and he didn't want to take no more of them. So that is definitely something to look out for. If you know a little bit about your opponent as well, and you've seen footage of him and he doesn't normally switch up stances, and you have been attacking that lead leg, then there is a good chance that the reason why he's switching stances is because you've hurt him and he's trying to get that back leg away from you. So if that's the case, obviously try and push forward, and every now and again you'll notice this, especially if they're not used to being in that southpaw stance, they will change back automatically to the orthodox stance. So as soon as they do that, that's when you can attack that lead leg, if you're not confident with attacking that lead leg when it's backwards. So that's obviously again something to look out for. If they're swapping stances, then you could have damaged that leg, so make sure you take full advantage of it. So that's number 2. So number 3, they keep touching or wiping the area which's been hurt. Sometimes if a fighter hurts themselves, they can't help but go to that area and keep touching it. You might have cracked them on the head and they might keep touching it, they might be bleeding. Don't always have to be the head or the face though. I have seen it with other places. I've seen it on the body where someone got caught with a body shot and it's obviously broken their rib or hurt them, and they kept going and touching the place and almost like they're trying to protect that area. So if you do notice, obviously someone, they keep touching their face, keep wiping their eye maybe underneath their eye, you could have broke their orbital bone or anything like that, then as nasty as it is, but it's the fight game, you want to be going for that area. Like if you've hurt someone in that area, just like what we're saying with the leg kicks, that's where you want to be attacking, because that's how you're going to win the fight. So just look out for that. If someone keeps obviously wiping an area or keeps touching an area on their body which doesn't look like normal to you, like they should be keep doing that. That's something to look out for. So number 4, if they're moving flat-footed. Now this could be because they're either tired, or again what I was talking about, attacking the legs, you've managed to damage their legs. But if they're a fighter who's really springy on their toes and they're really moving about and they're up on their toes moving well, and towards the end of the round you notice that they're going really flat-footed, that could be because they're trying to conserve energy because they're getting tired, or like I said, you might have injured one of their legs or one of their feet, or that's also another thing, they could have injured their feet, one of their feet on you, they could be kicking you or caught your elbow or something like that. So if they've injured a foot, for example, they're not going to have that spring in their step where they're going to be moving back and forward very well because they're in pain. So obviously they're going to be a lot more flat-footed and they're not going to be moving as well. So if your opponent is moving flat-footed, again, you want to be going in there, pushing the pressure and try and win the fight. All these ones I'm talking about, they're all, sometimes they're really minute little things you can look out for, but it will also give you a confidence booster. There's nothing more better than a confidence booster when you're in a fight, especially if you're feeling tired as well. And knowing these things, you can try and have a better poker face. Like if someone hits you with a leg kick and that and it's hurting, maybe think, well, I'm not going to change stance, I'm just going to act like I didn't hurt. And they might not throw it again. Obviously if they do keep throwing it over and over again, then you might have to change stance or you might have to do something else. But if you can always make sure you're staying springy, your hands are up, if you've got an injury and that, try not to draw attention to it. Number 5. Now, just before we get on to that, if you are enjoying this video so far, please give it a thumbs up. Things like this really does help me out, and also subscribe to the channel. So number 5, again, probably a little bit of an obvious one, but you're not always going to pick up on it when you're fighting. Trust me, when you're fighting, you're not always going to be picking up on these things, but it's something to try and look out for. Maybe look out for it in your sparring as well. But deep breaths, especially if you've attacked the body. If you've noticed they keep every now and again taking deep breaths, it could be, like I said, because you've attacked their body and so you've injured them that way, so that's why they're having to take deep breaths. You could have broke their nose even, so it's interrupt their breathing pattern, so they're having to quickly, every now and again, stopping and taking deep breaths. But every time they're taking that deep breath, as soon as they're taking it, that's when you want to try and get in there and go in there for the kill. You don't want them to take the deep breath, reset, and then go back in there against you, if that makes sense. You want to try and get there before them interrupts their rhythm, their pace, especially, like I said, if you notice every now and again they're having to drop back and take a deep breath. As soon as you notice them drop back and breathe in, like that, you want to be boom, in on top of them, so they don't get their rhythm back with their breathing. So that, again, there could be a few different reasons why they could be taking a deep breath, but whether they're injured or they're tired, it both means that hopefully you should be winning a fight or at least getting the advantage over them if you notice they're breathing like that. And the same what I was saying earlier about looking out for these things, you should not be trying to take deep breaths in like that. Maybe when you'll go to the corner, when you're in between your corner, but when you're fighting, you want to keep that good strong poker face, you want to keep that regular breathing pattern. Don't try and stop, take a deep breath, because it is a massive telltale sign that something's wrong, that you're tired or you've been injured with a body shot. Or like I said, maybe your nose is broken and you can't breathe out your nose, so you're having to breathe out your mouth, so you're having to take that big gulp of air. Number 6, this is a little bit more of a harder read, but it's good to know, but they could be trying to slow down the pace of the fight. If you're a fighter with a lot of experience and you are suffering any of the things we've been talking about, like an injury, a dead leg, you're feeling a bit winded, you're feeling a bit tired, you might want to try and slow down the pace of the fight. Now, if you can notice that your opponent is trying to slow down the pace of the fight, then obviously that's when you know that you want to up the pace. Now, a couple of signs they could be trying to slow down the pace of the fight is they're trying to keep their distance away from you. They're just using their distance and they're using their footwork and they're just doing a lot of circling around and they're not engaging. That just could be they're trying to take a little breather, get a little breath back without having to take a big deep breath in, but just showing their poker face, getting out of distance, getting away from the action for a little while, just to catch their breather to then go back in. Rather than you trying to take a break as well, especially if you don't need to take a break, that's when you want to really be trying to put the pressure on. Now, the other thing they could be doing is obviously trying to take you down and doing a bit of lay and pray, as they call it, wrestle you down to the ground to try and get a breather or wrestle you up against the cage to try and get a breather. So, again, sometimes you're not always going to be able to tell that they're doing this, but it's something to really try and look out for. So number 7, visual damage. Again, this one is a bit of an obvious one, but it's surprising how many people don't take full advantage of it. And the main one I can think of with this is if you've cut someone. If someone's got a cut on their head, you want to be trying to go for that cut. You want to be throwing little jabs at it, anything you can do to hit it, to open it up more. Some people don't like a fight when it's stopped by a cut of an opponent and they're bleeding. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. And if you manage to cut them through striking them with an elbow or a good strike or anything like that, then why shouldn't you take full advantage of that and win the fight by it? Again, like I say, sometimes people don't really like doctor stoppages because of cuts, but it's still a win at the end of the day, and you should still take full advantage of that. In my eyes, if someone's got a cut, you definitely want to be going for that cut, trying to open it up worse, and hope the referee intervenes and gets a stoppage. So number 8. Now this can go either way. This could just be a strategy they're trying to do, or it could be that they are feeling tired, but it's clock watching. If you've got someone who keeps looking up at the clock, it's either they want to know how much time they've got left so they can empty their gas tank, or they're feeling, oh damn, I am tired, and they're looking up at the clock thinking, will this clock hurry up and run out because I am gassing, I am struggling. So you do have to be a bit mindful of this, but in my eyes, if a lot of the time if a fighter's looking up at a clock, even if they are doing it because they're planning to empty their gas tank, I still think that they're struggling through the fight and they could be feeling tired. So if you notice a fighter looking up at the clock, think of that as a positive. Try and get a bit of motivation from that and think, oh, they must be feeling tired then because they're having to look up at the clock to see how much they've got long left. So that's something to look out for as well if you notice your opponent looking up at the clock. So number 9 is spitting out the gum shield. There could be a couple of reasons why they could be doing this. They could just be generally tired, so they spat out the gum shield, so the ref stops the fight, so then they can pick the gum shield up and have the gum shield back in, like, it takes time to get the gum shield back in their gob, so then they start. And another reason could be that if you've broken their nose, they might not be able to breathe properly out their nose, so they're having to breathe out their mouth. They keep opening their mouth, so their gum shield keeps coming out. They might not necessarily be spitting it out, it might just be being knocked out. But if that's the case, then again, it still means that their breathing's been interrupted and that they could be feeling tired. So that's something to look out for. So with the bonus, I've actually got a couple of bonuses here for you. Now, one of them is that the opponent is taking, if you do an illegal strike and you hit him in the privates or something like that, even if you don't hit them that hard, they're purposely trying to take the time up. So if they're trying to do that, you know that you've obviously they've got they're tired, so they're purposely trying to say they're like a little bit injured or they need the time to wait to recover to carry on, which they're entitled to, but it could mean that they're feeling tired. Obviously, if you're winning the fight and you're not feeling tired, you get hit in the nuts and you feel a little bit of pain, but then you recover quickly, you're not going to want to sit there and take the time up, are you? You're going to want to get back in there as soon as you can. So if they're not trying to get back in there, you know that that's a sign that they're feeling tired. So, also, just another quick bonus, what I literally just thought about on the spot, but it's something I actually done in one of my own fights. If you knock your opponent down, or if your opponent's on their back for some reason and you're standing up and you're waiting for them to get up, just stay there, laying on your back. I've done it, I ain't even gonna lie. I just stood there waiting on the back and I waited for the ref to stop it, to tell me to stand up. It's literally seconds, but sometimes them seconds is just enough to get you a little bit of a breather before you get back in there. So that's something to look out for with stalling the fight, say. I should have mentioned that earlier in one of the other ones, but it's one way how to stall the fight or slow down the pace of the fight, is if you're on your back, your opponent's standing up, wait for the referee to tell you to stand up. So, we've gone through a load of ways to see when your opponent is injured or tired so you can take full advantage of them. Now, there is just one more thing I wanted to talk about, which is meant to be the main bonus, but when you go into your corner, if you think that you have injured your opponent or your opponent is tired but you're not too sure, take a glance over when you're in the corner and look at them sitting in their corner. 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to tell how tired they are or if they are injured, because the coaches will be panicking. They might be icing the leg if you've caught them, if you've caught them in the leg or a few times, or you'll be able to tell by their posture. If they're laying there, slants over, hands up on their corner man, that's a sign that they could be tired. Now, at the end of the day, it is a fight, so they're going to be tired, you're going to be tired, but try and use that as a bit of a motivation. Look across and think, yeah, he's tired, I've still got some gas left in the tank, and go out there hard. So, just a few things to think about. Thanks again for watching. If you liked this video, so yeah, check out this video where I talk about who you should be listening to when you're fighting. There's a lot of noises going on, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people shouting things out. You've got the cornerman, you've got the crowd. Anyway, it's all explained in this video, so go check this one out next.